We'll hit the recording. I want to thank everybody for coming out. My name is Ryan Gaylor, and I'm a distance learning librarian for the University of St. Augustine. And we're going to talk a little bit about EndNote tonight and go over some of its capabilities. I'm joined tonight by Gemma Rose. She is a circulation manager for the library on the St. Augustine campus. So Gemma, you want to say hello real quick to the people?
Hi, everyone. I'm here to assist. And if you have any questions, just make sure to put them in the chat box and we'll answer them as fast as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and get going. Recording is going. Yep. And so let's go. So EndNote, one of the citation managers that we support at the University of St. Augustine. To be exact, the EndNote that we support is the Windows X8. Currently there's an X9 edition, but the one that we mainly support is the X8. So our little agenda tonight's not too much to really go over. We're going to be doing a lot of demoing of the product. I would say that really my goal is to show you some of the basic features of it, because I think that's really a good place to start. And then I encourage you to, when you're on your own, of course, to play around with the program. It's got a lot of positives for sure. And yeah, we'll just go over exactly what EndNote is, how to get it, some of the basic operations for it, and hopefully we'll have enough time for questions. I'm hoping that that's going to be the case. So what is EndNote? EndNote is a citation manager software system, much like Zotero as well as Mendeley. Users can insert citations into documents, create bibliographies, reference lists. It assists users with what a lot of users typically use a citation manager for, which is, not only to house their information, but also to be able to insert reference styles into their work that they're working on. And EndNote X8 supports APA, AMA, as well as MLA. I will do a asterisk with that. So EndNote X8, since it's the previous edition, there's a current one, X9, you actually have to go and do a separate download for the current edition of APA, the APA 7th. If you have the current edition of EndNote, the one that you got through University of St. Augustine, you will notice, and I'll point it out, that there isn't an option for the 7th edition yet. You actually have to go to EndNote and download that style. It doesn't take very long to do. I just realized that I forgot to do it today. But so the examples I'm going to do tonight are going to be in the 6th, but I can supply you with the link just so if you would like to use EndNote, you could upgrade its style to its APA style up to 7th. I'm pretty sure it's probably the same thing with AMA. I think AMA is in its 11th edition right now. So yeah, so Gemma, don't let me forget. I need to get that link for everybody. If they want to use EndNote, they can upgrade it. Then it also, of course, allows users to import records and documents from other sources. So let's go to our next slide. So how do you get EndNote? So EndNote is available for free for the university's post-professional programs. Of course, those are. I'm looking at the list right now, and I think quite a few of you are in one of those programs. The library does not provide access to EndNote. We support it. So if you have any issues with things like the product key or the download itself, I would have to direct your questions to either your program directors or our IT support team. The product key, as it says there, the product key can be attained in most of your Blackboard course shells. It's usually under course technology or the technology section. There'll be a it's like a PDF guide that walks you through the entire process of downloading EndNote. A couple tips with that is the product key itself. I've noticed dealing with other people that have had this problem, copying pasting the product key is not helpful. It's actually better to type the product key in. I just learned that recently, helping someone that for some reason that was the way that it fixed so the product key would work. So if you've had problems with that, try to, you will of course confirm the product key is correct, and then maybe type it in instead of copying and pasting it. But of course, as I said, if you need help with the functionality of EndNote, the kind of stuff we're doing tonight, then of course you can always contact the library at usa.edu, and we'll be more than happy to help you. So announcement, yes, I almost forgot. So the announcement is, so in the fall of 2019, Apple released the Mac operating system Catalina. And it's basically because Apple decided to do away with all 32-bit application support, which has impacted EndNote X8 and for a lot of Mac users. The only application of EndNote that runs on Apple's current operating system, which if you've upgraded your operating system since October, then you have the new operating system. The only one that runs and functions properly is EndNote X9. So if you have an Apple computer, EndNote X8 is probably not the best option for you, because it's simply because of this upgraded operating system. Any addition of EndNote before X9 does not work. And at the moment, unfortunately, our post-professional program program heads, I guess, haven't decided yet on whether they want to upgrade our subscription to the X9. But I would just, I would kind of listen out for it. If we do, I'm unfortunately not a part of that conversation. But yeah, I just wanted to give a disclaimer, especially if you do have an Apple and you're interested in using EndNote. Or if you have an Apple computer and you were thinking about downloading it, unfortunately, it's not going to work, or it's not going to work very well. In lieu of that problem with the Catalina operating system, we encourage you to check out both Zotero as well as Mendeley, which are great tools as well. They're free, they're very user friendly, and they do a lot of the same operations that EndNote does. Some say better, but that's people's opinions. But yeah, I just wanted to make that announcement really quick before we continued. So basic operations, we're going to look at the layout of EndNote, how it's sort of set up. I'll go over some of the different places that are of importance. The view edit of the citation, or searching your library, like searching the one that you've already built. You can find full text using the EndNote application. There's like a little bit of a caveat to it, but I'll talk about that in just a few. Then we're going to do export, import citations from Search USA and from PubMed, or excuse me, not from PubMed, but from ProQuest, because that's one of the other major databases. And then and then we should have enough time to definitely insert some citations, just so I can kind of show you what that looks like. So I'm going to pause for a second so I can switch gears. Do we have any questions just yet?
Nothing yet in chat, Ryan.
Nothing yet in the chat. Well, good. Let's see. So I'm going to have to kind of move some stuff around really quick. My apologies. All right.
Well, while you're doing that, Ryan, I'm going to talk about some of the other things that the library has to offer.
Please.
So just as a reminder, we do have wonderful e-events going on right now, and we highly encourage you to check out our library's website and check out our other upcoming events, not only just on citation managers, but on study groups. We also offer, oh goodness, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Let's see what we have going on this week. So upcoming events, we have study tips, mindful resource. I cannot talk tonight. I'm so sorry. Mindful research.
Happens to
and
me
then
every night, though. Yeah.
and then the curses of a digital exhibit walkthrough. So, I mean, there's a lot of great stuff that we have to offer. All you have to do is go to library.usa.edu and then look under our upcoming events.
Well, thank you very much, Jim. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So just a screen check, you can see the EndNote screen, right? It's gray.
Yes, it's gray. Yep,
Okay,
we're good.
cool. I'm going to do this really fast, but so after you've downloaded EndNote to your computer and everything is tip top, you would usually launch. I think one of the things that throws people off the most when they're first using EndNote, as opposed to maybe some of the other tools, is that when you open EndNote for the first time, this is what you get. You get basically just a gunmetal gray screen, and you're like, how do I even, like, where do I go next? And it's one of the things that when I first kind of started learning how to use it, I didn't really get why they didn't populate immediately. The way to really get going with EndNote is to once the screen has been launched, go to File and then go to New. And what this is doing, it's going to create a library for you, basically, and you can name it, whatever you would like to name it. And this would be a library that you would most likely want to save on your desktop, just for easy um, um, easy use, really, just to find it quickly. So that's usually one of the first things you want to do, is just create the library. Once you've done that, it takes a beat, and then it will open up a window that looks more like the window that should have existed when you open the program for the first time, which would have something that looks like that you can enter information in. So I did this one as a sample, but I already have one that I had kind of started building before we started the session tonight. But this is essentially what it looks like. It's going through the different, I have to move in my chair a little bit, going through the different panels. This is I always think that this is kind of important to go over, is the layout of everything, and what everything really, what everything is and how it's laid out. Pretty much your library layout is all going to be here on the left. And this is going to be your entire library, references, syncing. If you decide to create one of the EndNote X8's online accounts, to actually sync your account with the online account, you can do that with this device, with just clicking on that button. Sorry. Recently added information, unfilled information. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And the trash can. The trash can, of course, being for the stuff you don't want. You can create groups as well. I'll show you to basically how to do that in just a minute. But like I said, I just want to kind of give you the overview of what everything is and what, what's it all about. This is the reference panel, the panel that pretty much is going to be the content that is in your library. Of course, tonight we're probably only going to add no more than maybe 30 to 50 articles, but of course, as you progress in your program, I don't exactly know where you are, but if you're trying to decide on the citation manager to use, whether early or late, once this starts to populate, EndNote has a library search engine to search your own library. That's actually located right up here at the top. But this is where all of your entries would show up. You'll see it in just a minute. And then when an entry is populated, when you select the entry, this gives you a little bit of information about the entry. So when we start adding stuff in here, you'll see this start to populate a little bit. Like, it'll give you a sample APA 6th edition, because we're doing the 6th edition tonight, reference sample that would show up here. It would be a preview of the of the citation, as well as if it has a PDF attachment that would be located here. But that's kind of the essentials of it. And you can change the lookup depending on however you prefer everything to be fitted on the page. This is the default setting. This is the one that I've used mostly. A couple things to also keep track of with EndNote is, like, you can do, unlike some of the other tools I've played around with in the past, you can do a lot of different buttons do a lot of the same operations. So you'll notice there's especially if you were to compare it with Zotero or with Mendeley, the library windows, which what we're looking at right now, they're usually kind of not as many buttons that do things. It's usually just a less than a handful, and they have different ones that do different things, but they're also accessible through these tabs as well. A lot of the tabs kind of correspond with some of these buttons that are at the top. So you might hear me say it a couple of times that you can do a lot of things. You can do a lot of the same thing different ways using EndNote. You can edit a citation by clicking on it, going File, going Edit, going that direction, or you can right click on it and just edit it that way. There's lots of different ways to do things in EndNote. I'm going to scan through my notes really quick to make sure I'm not missing anything. I've kind of shortened this presentation a little bit because I do think it's important to you guys have some time to play around with it and be able to ask me some questions. So first thing I want to do is I want to address something that is often kind of it's a point of confusion when it comes to using EndNote. Now, EndNote, unlike the other citation managers, has a built-in search engine that actually has the capability of searching other libraries. And by other libraries, I'm not just saying like the actual library that you're building, but you can search. You could potentially search libraries such as the Library of Congress, the PubMed, which is basically Medline, National Library of Medicine. And you'll notice, especially if you were to kind of play around with the preferences in here, that there are universities that you can connect to with EndNote to search library content. So you could, the benefit of EndNote, one of the greatest things when it came out was that if your library was a partner with the company that makes EndNote, then a student could download EndNote and potentially search your library without having to leave this library EndNote screen that we're on. Fortunately, the University of St. Augustine's library is not equipped to do that yet. So if you were to try to search for articles that are outside of your library, that are online somewhere, the only thing that you could search would be PubMed, actually. That would be the only open access resource that you'd be able to search. And let me show you. You go to set up the full text, search, to search stuff outside of your library, which you can still do even if it's not our library or someone else's library. The way to do it is you go to Edit and Preferences. Now, I might move a little fast, but don't worry. All of the stuff that I'm going through tonight is actually, it's in screenshots and with directions, and it's available in the library guides under citation managers. Gemma, would you mind going to the guides and going to citation managers and then pasting that link to that guide in the chat for me? Just
Not
so
a
people
problem.
have it. Thank you. So basically, the start of this is just showing you that you can use it to search resources. Unfortunately, it's not the USA's resources, or most likely, other libraries' content, but you can search PubMed, which is great. So you go to Preferences, Edit, Preferences, and then it kind of automatically spits you to the Find Full Text one. And so for this one, the university doesn't have access to Web of Science, so you can have it check marked if you want. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to search anything. You can keep the DOI one. You can keep that one checked because that's just really just searching the web. And of course, PubMed. Now, like I said, you could look for you know, a university library, but unfortunately, unless you have the credentials to connect the accounts, which I'm not sure that it would even work even if you still had the credentials to a previous university or anything like that, that it still wouldn't connect properly. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't actually. But so anyway, that's kind of the unfortunate thing. I know some people have tried to use it before, like trying to search like Senol, for instance, which does appear on here. But unfortunately, since our library isn't compatible with the company that makes EndNote, that it doesn't search our resources, but it still searches a lot of substantial resources. And of course, the best resource really is one of the best is PubMed. So you could search PubMed inside EndNote if you want to. You can also search it by just going directly to PubMed and doing searches there as well. But this is pretty much all you need is this. You really don't need Web of Science or anything like that to do the web searching. And I'll show you what the web searching looks like in just a second. But I just want to apply it. We'll come back to all of this in just a few minutes. But another thing to note is that these little buttons up here at the top, you have your local library mode, which is in translation is your library content. It's the articles that you add that you're going to see exclusively when you're in the local library mode. When you're in the online search mode, of course, you're going to be doing, this is where you would be able to select to search PubMed online. That's where you would be able to select to do searches, which is the search engine up here at the top. And the search capability is not too terribly bad. They actually have some really good ways for you to search for items in PubMed using EndNote. I mean, it's okay if you want to search for PubMed content using EndNote, but I'm a fan of you just going directly to PubMed and then exporting the content from PubMed to EndNote, just because there's a lot more PubMed features that the search engine that searches PubMed in EndNote doesn't really have. So as far as doing just the keyword search, I would say that this would be fine, or maybe a subject or journal search through PubMed. But that's if you're in here. I would say if you're not, that's okay. You can just go to PubMed directly. I see we have a couple of questions. I was wondering.
Oh, no, it's just me giving out information.
All right,
Sorry.
good. I thought we had a couple of questions. It's usually a part where I know it sounds crazy, but I like to point it out, the search thing, because it's cool. It's very neat and it can be very handy, but I just wanted to let you know it's there just in case. I don't know if I would advise using it all the time, but I just want to let you know it's there. And sometimes people are like, what? I don't get it. So
Definitely a great feature.
it's a cool feature. So so with that, I'm going to go ahead and start adding some content. So let's go do that. So like I said, you have these two different buttons. You have the one for local library mode, which is your library once we start adding content. And then you have the online search mode, which is just for searching PubMed or the DOI database. The one I like to view when I'm using PubMed and with my library is I like to do the one that's kind of like the combined version, which allows you to search your own library, but then you can also search PubMed or something like that. I just find that it's a lot easier to kind of to see a little bit of everything. So let me show you then how to add content to PubMed. Let's go to Search USA really quick. Just a quick check, Gemma, everyone can see my screen, the library homepage.
Yep, looks good.
Thank you. So I'm just going to do a quick search for virtual reality, stroke rehabilitation. And this is just how to add information. First, we got to log in. the waiting. Okay. So here we go. First things first, look at our articles, see which one we may want to add. I'm going to go ahead and do this one at the top just to show you an example of how it works. So to add an article to EndNote, for an article from Search USA, and you're kind of going to be doing this just about every time that you just about every time that you export export an article into EndNote. This is the operation you're going to do. So you're going to see me do it once, and I'll do it for if we go to PubMed and then also at ProQuest, but it's pretty much the same type of operation. So what you do to do it, click on the article, and then if this is something that you want, you'll go over here to Tools, right there, and then down to Export, right here. And when you click on Export, it'll be the export manager will pop up, and it'll give you different ways to actually save this file. Lucky for us, the default is the direct export an RIS format, which is compatible with EasyBib, EndNote, and Zotero. So that's the one that we're going to choose to download the file. Now, I understand that people use different different browsers and different computer configurations and things like that. So what I'm doing when I'm downloading stuff is going to be like, this is a Chrome browser. So the download, when I click Save, I know if you're Firefox, I think it comes up in the up here near the address bar, there's a little download folder. But in Chrome, it pops up down here at the very, very bottom, if you can see that. It'll say like delivery, and this is the 15th file that I think I've added today, so that might be the reason why it's saying that. But once the file is downloaded, it'll appear, and then you just click on the file to open the file, and then give it a moment, and there it is. Is that visible, Gemma?
Yep.
Okay,
It
so
sure is.
you were able to see the file go in. So yeah, that's your file. That is what we just pulled in. It, of course, pulled all of the, just because it's a direct RIS format file download, then it gives us all of our bibliographic information. Now, you know, some of the other citation managers, they have these things that are called browser connectors. That usually, this is where this is the one for Zotero, which they'll pop up the browser, and then if this is an article you like, you click on the browser, and then it moves the bibliographic information from your browser into your library, which Zotero as well as Mendeley, they do a great job doing that, but sometimes they miss little bits of information, and that's kind of the best thing with EndNote, is that since it's a direct RIS formatted file, it pulls everything. So you're really getting, you're getting the abstract even. You're getting additional notes, you're getting keywords. I mean, you're getting everything that was on the file. Now, sometimes with the other software managers, like I said, you may not have all of that information. A lot of the times you will, but it just depends on the resource that you're doing that to, really. But so yeah, that's how you add something to your library. Now, you did see that it didn't grab a full text document or anything like that, and that's kind of one of the drawbacks to EndNote, in my opinion, as opposed to some of the others, is that if a full text document is available, then it will pull that full text document into your library. But EndNote operates a little differently, where you have to go and actually go to the article, which if this is a full text, that means we have to like leapfrog from the publisher's link to the journal. And so once we're there, we're going to download the article like so. Well, one more step then. Do a quick download. I'll put it on my desktop so we can find it, hopefully. And you can go to your entry, click on it, select it. It's the only one here, so it's already that way. And then go to the little paperclip right there. and then we can find the article in our list, and it's all. Gemma, be my extra set of eyes, please. It's supposed to be evaluation. I have too much stuff on my desktop.
PDF, right?
Yeah. There's my kid's school information. Hope you didn't see that.
Would it be under EndNote export?
No, I saved it on the desktop. Okay. It would be here somewhere. I was hoping that would work good. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a tick. Oh, it did. 20149. Yeah.
Always love it when they name it for us.
Yeah. I mean, I love that. I think I just passed it, but I wanted to make sure that wasn't the right one. Okay. This may not be the right one, but it's going to be the right one for now.
It's it.
It is. Oh my God, that was a complete guess. That was amazing. I don't think I'll ever be able to do that again. So, yeah. So that's how you would add. You know, if you're just transferring information from, say, Search USA or ProQuest or PubMed, that's kind of the operation that you would do to do that. Now, once you have the document in there, you can do a multitude of things, which I like a lot about EndNote. And actually, if you want a little bit of insider information, also Mendeley has this good feature as well, where you can, you know, read through the document, have it in your library, and then be able to make notes on it or highlight bits of it and things like that. I've always find that a really helpful tool. And then of course, when you're done, you're able to save it, which is cool. So we can go back to, oops, thought I was making a change already. Oh, did I just lose that? How did that happen? Oh, I think I X'd it out. Gemma, what did I do?
It's right there.
So
you
yeah,
got it.
There we go. So another little bit about the panes again. I wanted to show you with something in there. Of course, this is going to be all of your you know, bibliographic information, everything you need, and it actually gives you a preview of the APA citation. You adjust the citation styles over here in this little drop-down window. They have quite a bit to pick from. It's actually a lot more than this, but again, when at the end of the session, we'll get the 7th edition, so you have that. But it does give you a nice little preview of it, plus your article that you can doodle on and all these different things. So that's how you add an article. I'll go to, well, first I'll do one from ProQuest really quickly. Like I said, it's the same operation, but it looks a little different from platform to platform, and so it's kind of better for me to show you where it looks like. Pretty much for CINAHL and anything that's EBSCO based, that's going to look just like what we did, where you have click on the entry, tools, and then go to export. So for ProQuest, kind of similar to that. You can go like, let's do this article here. And this is the one you like. It's a news article. We can go directly to all options. And then in all options, it will give you the option to export the citation via the RefWorks file version or the RIS version, which is the one that we're going to do. And that's basically what happens. We're just going to, just like before, download it. Doesn't really let us to change too much of anything of the file. Takes a moment for it to come through, and then of course it'll be the same way as the Search USA file. It'll pop up down there at the bottom, and you open it, and then takes a minute for the info to pop up, and there it is. Pretty much the same thing as before. We'll go back and get the article, especially if it's a PDF article, and attach the PDF. But you can definitely see the process of what happens. A couple things to note: the imported references thing sometimes kind of freaks people out too, because when you're in the imported reference, initially you had one reference. It was this one. And when you import one into your library, it'll take you to this separate group where this article is sort of finishing its um, import into your library. So eventually, this little imported reference will actually disappear. But both references are there, so you have that. So that's it. I mean, that's how you move information from one place to another. The couple things I want to mention real quickly, and then I'll do right before I do a PubMed search inside this to show you what that looks like. I do want to show you how to put groups together. I know, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm using a citation manager, I use it for lots of different topics and lots of different things. And a good way to keep your information organized is by creating one of these groups where you can drag drop information here and there. And it's pretty helpful, pretty useful to keeping everything straight, I think. So we've created this file, and you can simply drag it into there, and you'll see that it populated here. And if it's still in your reference library, it's just a copy of it is now over there. And then you can move it in by going right-click and then moving it to a group, or copying it and putting it into that group. There's, like I said, there's lots of different ways to do things when you're using EndNote. So okay, I'll show you two things. I'll show you how to move information from PubMed if you're not internally searching PubMed, which, like I said, I think it's cool, and I want you to know the capabilities there to do it through EndNote, but you're maybe better going through PubMed just because of the wonderful configuration of PubMed's search engines. They're fantastic. So, and you're not going to get that completely just using the EndNote internal search feature. Let's do this one as an example. And so, how do I get this? Because we don't have a tools section, or we don't have the one that, what was the one before? The all options. How do I move it from from PubMed to EndNote? Well, really, how you do it is you would go to Send To over here at the top, right here, and then it would be Send To. You have an option for Clipboard, My Bibliography, Collections, and Citation Manager. Of course, it'll be Citation Manager. And it creates the RIS file for you. And once again, it'll pop up, I'm in Chrome, so it'll pop up down at the bottom of the screen for me. And then I just open it and give it a moment. And then, yeah, you see the imported references, and that's our article right there. Again, it didn't pull up the full text because it's not really set up that way. But it's there, and it's there for you to use. Now let's do the online PubMed search the other way, and let me show you how. Oops, didn't do that. Reinstate. Okay. So let's do a search in PubMed really quick. So I'm already set up since I have both my personal library up, and I also have it selected for its search mode. I'm already ready to go. So all I have to do is come over here to online search and select PubMed, and it kind of like starts up its image, or starts up its engine. Sorry. And so I'll do the same search here at the top. I'll move to just do a regular language search, or actually, I'll just do all terms. That works, all fields. And basically, I just hit search right after there. And oops, I'm a little misspelling action. All right, so the best thing about one of my favorite, one of the good features is that if you do a search through EndNote to search PubMed, it'll actually tell you how many records that occurred after your keyword search. So if you want to do it in like increments, that's possible by doing that here. I'm just going to do like the first 30 to kind of show you how, well, we'll do 25. Do the first 25 to kind of to show you how it works, but you could potentially carry all of those citations into your library just by clicking OK, and that would have been 600 records, which would have been a lot to deal with. So we'll just do the first 25, and all you have to do, click OK, and there they are. There's a couple that are coming through still. Yeah. So those are our first 25 records. All of these came from PubMed. I think one of these we already have. But yeah, so you have your first 25 that are there. Now, the other feature that EndNote has that is in partnership with, just because it additionally not only searches PubMed, but it has the capability of searching PubMed's um, uh, open access library as well. So we can potentially get full text articles for these entries. In just a moment, I'll show you how to do that. But that's the other little side feature that it does is it searches PubMed, but then it also is able, in this mode, it's able to pull full text items um, only from PubMed though. So I'll do select all, which you can do Control All to do this, or you can do it individually, or excuse me, Control A will select everything that's in here. And then you're going to go to where it says find full text. It's right there. And then it'll initiate a new search through PubMed to look for open access content available through PubMed. It's pretty much through PubMed only. If it has a question on whether something is open access or not, it'll do the found URL, which basically is just saying this one could take you to full text, but we can't go far enough to look to make sure it does go to full text. But it's still pulling full text information for you, and you can see what it's doing. Still searching. It's found out of the 25 results that we have, and all of these are probably the full text that it did find. The PDF full text are probably from PubMed's free open access library. It's the PMC library. So that's where a lot of these are probably going to be coming from. But so yeah, you get to see what comes through, and yeah, it's a very interesting tool. And once this, doing the last search now, and then I'll show you how it's populated everything. Okay, so it found 7, and you'll see which ones it found because you'll see the paper clips beside it. That means that it's PDF articles attached to it. So some of these could be just direct links to an HTML that may already to the website of the article that appears on PubMed, perhaps. That's also a possibility. Not always, but usually it'll look for the PDFs, and they'll identify here by paper clips. So it's a lot of information, I know. I definitely know that you guys are probably either following along or looking at it, maybe want to watch it later, which is totally fine. I'm going to look at my notes really quick to make sure I covered the stuff I wanted to cover for the night. And yeah, also, I just want to say before, I did the full text search pretty quickly, and I did it from the full text button. You can also, like I said, do it individually, and then go to references and then full text. That's another way to do it. Again, you've already heard enough. It's me saying that you can do a lot of the same operations totally different ways throughout EndNote, which is a nice feature. Last thing, I just remembered, Gemma, what I was going to do last now. Last thing is we're going to insert a citation into a document. So it takes just a few seconds to open up a Word document. we have our Word document. We're going to write a very beautiful sentence. And then at the end, we're going to insert a parenthetical in-text citation. So we come to the end of our line. We go, because when you download EndNote, you will also get the EndNote Microsoft Office add-on, which will appear on Microsoft Word as well as PowerPoint. But of course, this will only appear if you've already downloaded the software, which I presume that you probably have already. So all you do to insert the citation is click on EndNote X8, and then, which is up here in the top, and then insert citation. And it'll give you the list of articles that you can pick from, maybe the one that you want to cite. Which I actually like this view much better than some of the other resources where sometimes they want you to search for them, which is kind of silly, especially if you have a lot of information. But then next thing is just insert, and we both got at the same time. We have our parenthetical in-text citation along with our bibliography one. It showed up down there, but if I had 2 pages going, it actually would have showed up on the other page. But that's how it works. And there's a citation. Of course, it's not the perfect citation. Always, you should always check if the citation looks off to you, which I'm sure you all using 7th edition have already recognized why this one looks kind of screwy. But the citations that all these citation managers spit out, they're great. They save you a lot of time, but definitely my philosophy is always, if something looks off, then use your manual and check it. Use your manual and check it, or you can contact us at the library, or you can talk to one of the coaches in the Writing Center, and then they can help you piece together the citation. But EndNote, it's a great tool, and if you guys choose to use it, of course, more than welcome to watch this video. And I know Gemma put into the chat our some of the resources that we have that you can use as well. I'm going to stop sharing because I believe that is all I have for that. I'm just going to put my contact information, because really, when we get down to it, if you do have any issues with it, of course, you can contact the library at library@usa.edu. But you can also, of course, if you have direct questions about tonight or that citation manager or any other citation manager, you can always contact me. I'm kind of the sort of the point person lately with citation managers. So there's my contact info. I really appreciate everybody coming out tonight and being very patient. I hope I answered a lot of questions. I hope I started a lot of questions, maybe. I don't know. but at any rate, thanks again for coming out. And I'll hang out for a few minutes to answer questions if you have any. Don't forget to take our online chat. Gemma, do you have the link?
Yep, I can get that real quick.
Thank you. Yeah, our online chat, or excuse me, our
survey.
Thank you. Our survey down at the bottom really helps us out a lot. It's really short. Just click on the link. It'll take you there. I think it's like really 5, 6 really short questions, and we appreciate the feedback tremendously. Once again, thanks. I appreciate it. Say goodbye, Gemma.
Bye. Oh, Ryan, before you forget, could you please send us the link to the EndNote APA 7th edition?
I certainly will. Let me stop the recording really quick.